Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is the Marvel movie review. Today we're taking the latest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe of the MCU, Marvel's Eternals. Now, this is kind of a movie I didn't really know too much about going into it. In fact, I really didn't hear any spoilers. I kind of equate this movie to Call of Duty Vanguard, because that game, Vanguard, and this movie, Eternals, no one really talks about it. It's getting pretty shit reviews, and at the same time, there's not much of a marketing push, you know what I mean? Like with Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare, they were like every freaking trailer, you know, every ad on YouTube would be, you know, and then Vanguard is just like, no, nothing, you know, we're not getting any of it. No Vanguard, no Vanguard. Same with Eternals. I barely know about Eternals or any of the characters' names, what the plot of the friggin' movie is, because the marketing just is not there, you know what I mean? It's not Shang-Chi, it's not Endgame, it's not Infinity War, and I get it, you know, and Eternals is not going to be the same, you know, hype level of, you know, Endgame and Infinity War, but that marketing push isn't really there. So I walked into this theater, and this movie kind of going, okay, you know, I don't really know too much about it, but, you know, hopefully it should be good. And I also knew going into it that it has like a roughly, last time I checked, a 52, 54, you know, a thingamajig review on Rotten Tomatoes. Now look, Rotten Tomatoes, I don't care about them. They can give, you know, they've given so many of my favorite effing movies, man. Kingsman 2, Golden Circle, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, this, really good movies in my eyes, like, you know, 50s, 40s, 30s. Freaking Rise of Skywalker has horrible reviews, and it's you know, it's my second favorite Star Wars movie. I mean, I love it. So it's really strange that, you know, people, I think, you know, if you really want to go see a movie, I think first and foremost you should go see it. You shouldn't really go, you know, and this is kind of stupid because you're watching me review a movie, but I think if you're going to, what the hell is that? I think the Eternals are here. If you're going to kind of go in this route of, I guess, you know, oh, I don't want to see the movie because it looks stupid. Oh, go see it anyway. Who gives a fudge? You know what I mean? Who gives what that guy over there said or that girl over there said? Just go and see it. So that was what I did. I'm like, all right, it's got horrible reviews. I'll go and see what that happened. And thankfully, I actually really enjoyed it. I think that the story was really great. Apparently, the director of this movie is going to be talking with Star Wars, you know, Lucasfilm and all that, Kathleen Kennedy and all them. So that's good. The movie looks great, you know, not CGI, but I mean, like, you know, framing, the shot composition, that all looks really good. You know, some of the Marvel movies can kind of start to, you know, blend together, but, you know, I think The Last Jedi, in my opinion, is, well, you know about that, but I do think that it's the best looking Star Wars movie. It's also the best looking film I've ever seen. But in terms of Star Wars, that's it, you know, and this might be it for Marvel. I think that this is a really good looking film. A lot of great shots, a lot of great lighting, a lot of great everything in there, so that's all good. CGI, I guess, you know, it's good. There's a lot of, you know, human CGI, and it looks a little bit strange, you know, because, you know, like the fast, deaf, mute girl, you know, she's zipping around, and it kind of looks a little hokey sometimes. It looks cool, you know. The powers are freaking cool, you know. I mean, they got Icarus shoots lightning, or, you know, laser blast out of his eyes, and that girl can, you know, run really quick, and, you know, Angelina Jolie's character, Athena, she can, like, create, like, weapons out of her hand. I mean, it's cool stuff, but some of it looks a little bit strange. You know, so again, there's a lot of CGI people, you know, like when Icarus is tumbling around a lot, or, you know, the deviants can look a little bit out of place. It's not bad, you know, it's not like Captain Marvel, or like that one scene in Civil War where I think they're like, you know, doing parkour, they're flopping around. You can tell they're effing CGI. So the CGI in this film is not as bad as it sometimes has been in the MCU. However, it could have been better. There's a lot of great shots. Don't get me wrong. I think the you know, the CGI looks really good in terms of that. But, you know, also it could have been better, I think. So story is great. The story regarding the Eternals or Eternals isn't necessarily something I want to divulge here because there's a lot of spoilers. There are 2 after credit scenes that I have to go look at. I know a shite ton about Marvel, but I don't know everything like Star Wars, so I need to go Google a few things. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of plot, a lot of things are happening with the Deviants and the Celestials and the Eternals, and, you know, each Eternal has, like, they kind of have, like, a framing device where, like, they go to, like, certain areas of the world, and they'll focus on 2, 3, 4, or sometimes even 5 Eternals, and then they'll, you know, poop on over to another, and then that area will have something else. So it's kind of cool how they can kind of, you know, bounce around these different areas of the Eternals, you know, the group, and it all still makes sense. Because, you know, they have text on the screen saying where the F you are, but, you know, even if they didn't have that text, I think it would still make sense because of the directing. It's very, very good. Action is great. I think the action's really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. I think, you know, some of the, you know, Marvel movies are more fist fight, guns, and some of them are more wizardy like Doctor Strange, and this kind of had that element of, not wizarding like Doctor Strange, but it had that kind of, you know, mystical element to it where, you know, they're just literally creating, like, freaking swords out of their hands, and Icarus is shooting lightning like Superman. You know, some guys are like, Gilgamesh is like punching guys, you know, so it's kind of cool. They can do that stuff. The one guy, again, I don't know all their names. I'm sure I will soon, but right now I don't. I just came out of freaking seeing the movie. But the one guy can I guess Asian-looking Credence. He can kind of make people control themselves like zombies, and he can basically stop everyone in the world from being a-holes. But so there's a lot of great powers in there, a lot of great stuff in there, and the stories kind of divulge, and they kind of characters butt heads, and they're like, oh, I should do this. No, you shouldn't do this. They kind of like that. It's not cheesy though. None of it is cheesy. However, I do need to get into the. This is outside of my grading. I'm not going to mention this in the review because it doesn't count. It's not really a negative. It's more of a personal thing. But of course, I don't know the guy's name, the actual superhero's name. The black dude, I don't know his name. He's in Joker, I think. Remember that scene where Arthur goes to the freaking Arkham Asylum and the warden, and the guy's trying to give him the papers on his mom? I think that's the guy. I'm not quite sure. They look the same. But there's kind of one of the huge controversies of this movie is the MCU was diving into quite headfirst diving into homosexuals. I don't want to mess anything, because look, if I say the wrong fucking thing, comment's gonna turn into World War III. So I got to be careful. But as a straight male watching a movie about action movies and awesome battle scenes and seeing that side of it, it's not bad, but it did take me out, because again, I gotta be careful here, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. There's so many of those things, they're pushing that element in movies, and people go, oh, you're right wing, you're left wing, Democrats love it, Republicans hate it. I'm not trying to get into politics, I'm just I'm just trying to say that, that is a little bit, it kind of took me out of there. And literally there's one scene where something happens and I said, fucking hell. I am like, this is just too much. So, again, they're trying to push a certain thing, the whole he, she, he, him bullshit that you see on Twitter. I don't do that. I'm never doing that. One of the girls, what's her name, Sprite? I think she's a girl. Again, maybe, I don't know, maybe she just likes to wear short hair. I don't know, what I mean? I have no idea. Again, as a straight dude watching an action movie just because I love Marvel, seeing that element in there, if you want to be that way, that's fine. I just personally don't like seeing it in superhero movies where it just kind of feels out of place and just kind of forced. And I hope they don't force it, because he's a good character. He's cool, like the tech guy. He kind of evolves into different things, and he kind of makes people, I guess, he's trying to give these cavemen, they're not cavemen, but the Roman soldiers, he's trying to kind of advance them, and he feels responsible for Hiroshima because he kind of had his hand dipped into that stuff. So he's a good character. I'm not saying that just he's that way, so he's automatically bad. He's a good character. It's just that's all I'm gonna say on that. Angelina Jolie, Athena, really great, but she kind of went to social media. She's like, oh, if people get weirded out, then it's a problem. Look. She's nuts. It's just whatever. Personally, I don't like that element in my films. If you want to be that way, go be that way. I don't give a shit. Just try not to force it down my throat. That being said, the rest, because I had to mention that. So I'm not going to, that element, I'm not going to mention that in the overall review because that wouldn't be right? That's just personally, that's not an actual flaw with the film. They just wanted to add that in there. Real flaws, some of the CGI, again, can be a little bit iffy sometimes. I think that the editing's a bit weird. There's a few scenes where, toward the end, no spoilers, where, a group of people are in space, and, the camera pans down to Earth, and then, see, the crescent part, like that much of Earth, and then just quick cuts away. And, I think they wanted to kind of have the actual Earth in the foreground of the shot, and they just cut it away. But still, the editing's not that bad. I just noticed one or two things. One character, Kit Harington's character, who's in Game of Thrones, who's in Infinite Warfare. I'm not going to go into him, but, there is an after credit scene. That's all I'm going to say on that. The characters, for the most part, are really good. I think they all have really unique motivations, really cool, acting, and all that. The writing's pretty good. A lot of the MCU tends to be kind of, laugh. Are you laughing yet? Let's throw more jokes until you laugh. That's what they kind of do. And sometimes the MCU could be, a little bit forced in terms of comedy. Star Wars is not like that because Star Wars was always built on a little bit of comedy, and DC really wasn't, so that's why they're not doing too much of it. But the MCU, this one actually felt funny. It didn't feel forced. It felt very natural for the most part. So again, I love Eternals for the most part. I really don't effing understand why it's getting a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. CGI, good, could have been better. I think editing, good, could have been better. I think the acting is great, the writing is great, the story is really good. It sets up a lot of unique stuff for the MCU. And again, that personal thing, which I'm not going to count in the review, but that's just, I had to, because everyone's talking about it, personally. I try not to get into politics, but there you go. I do think that this is a very good film. I think if, yes, some of that stuff made me a little bit uncomfortable and just kind of like, okay, can we skip? But other than that, the action scenes, the story, the plot, the character progression, and the actual arcs of the characters, the CGI for the most part good, acting really good. I think it's a good action film. It's got really unique consequences. This movie, for only being like 2 hours and 40 minutes around, it felt like a 3.5-hour movie. And that's a good thing in this case because it felt very epic in scope, right? Shang-Chi was really badass, but then when they started riding dragons, it was like, okay, this is a little bit too much, a little bit too wonky. But in this, it felt actual, it felt normal because that's how they are. They're like they're Eternals. They're freaking superhumans, basically. The first superhumans on Earth. And it felt very, normal for that, element to be in there. But some of it is a bit strange, but you just got to get used to it. The MCU is kind of going in a strange way. If you're not going to go with the times, if you're not, because back in my day, we had effing Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk. Boom, that was it for the most part. Hawkeye, Black Widow, whatever. I mean, the biggest thing in the freaking world was Loki trying to bomb New York, and he did, but, that film. And then now it's, the Eternals are here, and, Pip, and all these different things in there, all these crazy elements and all these different beings of power and all these different, stories and narratives coming together. I think for a lot of fans, after Endgame, after Iron Man died, they're like, well, who gives a shit, I'm here for Iron Man and Captain America, Thor, and that they're going away. Who cares? Who gives a poop? This is stupid. Thankfully for me, I still care, and I always will care unless they go kind of crazy. But I do think that right now we're in a good spot. In terms of storytelling, there's a lot of really unique things in there, and I'm very much looking forward to the future of the MCU. With Loki, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, all the Disney Plus stuff coming out, plus these movies, I think the MCU is in a really good spot. Again, personally, there's a few things I didn't quite agree with, but I think the movie itself is very well made, and I really don't understand why people are hating it so much. Maybe it's because of the things I personally didn't like. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I don't count that because it's not really a flaw with the film. In terms of flaws, again, a little bit of CGI, a little bit of the editing, and that's really it. I think it's a good movie. The MCU has never really made a bad film. There have been some that have been more memorable, like Black Widow, Thor 2. Those aren't as, they're good, but they're not as memorable as, say, Endgame or Ragnarok or Infinity War, Iron Man 3. And this is one of the more memorable ones. It feels very epic. It feels very grand in scope. And I hopefully, if this makes a bunch of money, which it probably effing will because it's Marvel, I think we will be getting Eternals 2. I can't wait to see it. Again, I'm probably going to give Eternals an A-. I think it was really, really good. Just shy of a very, very good score. Again, a few things here or there that some of the CGI, some of the editing. But other than that, I enjoyed it. It felt like a very big movie in scale, and that's what it was. It was really epic to watch. It was really cool. It felt like watching, two movies, like a part 1 and a part 2, but it was just one film. So the storytelling on display here is really, really good, and hopefully we're going to get more Eternals in the future. Again, A-. Tell me in the comments what you thought about Eternals without spoiling it down below, because I know, I'm a little late, but not everyone has seen it yet. So if you have seen it, if you want to tell me about it, tell me down below without spoiling the film so that people who haven't seen it don't want to kill you. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.